A hearing for a civil case brought against Prince Andrew accusing him of sexual assault has begun in the United States Federal Court.
The Duke of York's lawyers are challenging the suit today, claiming he wasn't properly served with court documents and the allegations are baseless and unlawful. It's a story the royal family no doubt hoped would go away, but it won't.
He knows what happened. I know what happened. And there's only one of us telling the truth, and I know that's me.
Virginia Giuffre, who now lives in Australia, alleges she was abused by Prince Andrew on multiple occasions when she was 17, claims that Prince has strenuously denied.
I've said consistently and frequently that we never had any sort of sexual contact whatever.
Ms Giuffre says she met the Duke through paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein and his alleged madam, Ghislaine Maxwell. She's now filed a lawsuit against the royal. And court documents reveal the lengths a courier went to serve Andrew with legal papers. On August 26, the papers were taken to his home in Windsor, but his security refused to accept them. Legal submissions accused the Duke of deliberately instructing his staff to block the papers. The following day, a police officer at the home agreed to pass them on. But Prince Andrew's lawyers are now claiming the papers were not served correctly and have cast doubt on the entire case.
Now, Lisa Bloom is an attorney who represents son of Jeffrey Epstein's victim. Lisa, good to see you again. Look, as Australians, we only see it in the movies where people sort of jump out of bushes and go, "You've been served." How are they served? What's the reality?
You know what? In that case, the movies are actually pretty accurate. That does happen. We prefer to have personal service, which means actually handing the papers from one human being to another human being. That's how most lawsuits get started. However, we know that wealthy people, royals, celebrities, tend to be behind palace walls and gated communities, and it's very difficult to get to them personally. So the law recognizes that you make a couple of attempts, and after that, it's acceptable to leave it with a security guard, an assistant, a housekeeper, somebody who answers the door, a responsible adult who says that they will then hand it on. And that's what happened here, according to the process server for Virginia Giuffre.
OK, so this will wash, will it, this serving, and then what will happen? Will Prince Andrew appear in court? Is he going to go to New York, do you think?
Well, I don't know how the judge is going to rule. I think this was acceptable service, but if it's not, then he will continue to duck and hide and run, and she will continue to try to serve him. And this happens in all of my cases against high-profile people. I have many of them. Eventually, they get served. So this is not a good look for Andrew. What happens next after he's served is the case goes forward. If it were my case, I would very aggressively start sending out subpoenas for logbooks and calendars and security records to show where he was and when he was there, to put him at the place and time that Virginia says that he was sexually assaulting her in New York. I think they're going to be in for a big fight on everything. He's going to object, but ultimately he's going to have to do that. Then he will have to come in and answer questions under oath in a deposition. He won't have to go to court yet. And eventually there will be a trial.
Right. Does Virginia, in your mind, have a strong case against Prince Andrew?
Definitely. So there's that photo that you just showed, the famous photo of her standing next to him and Ghislaine Maxwell in the background, and that was allegedly taken by Jeffrey Epstein himself. Prince Andrew has said in the BBC interview he never met her. Well, how does he explain the photo? He says, well, it must be doctored. Well, he's going to have to prove that. She presumably has the original photo. So that puts them together. And then it's her word against his. He spent a lot of time with Jeffrey Epstein. Did he really not know what was going on? Was he really not a part of it? I mean, perhaps, he's entitled to due process. But right now, he's just trying to avoid the whole thing.
Yeah, so if this does go through court and she can prove it, where does it end up? She wants damages?
Right. So this is the civil case. This is the kind of work that I do. It's lawsuits for money damages. He will not go to prison. It's not a criminal case, but she will be entitled to prove to the court, to a jury, how this has damaged her emotional distress damages all these years later. And she's entitled to show that.
Yeah. So he'll have to pay if he loses. Is there a fear from the palace that this could have a ripple effect, that sort of others might come forward and it just never ends?
Well, probably. Listen, they're doing everything possible, at least Prince Andrew is, to try to avoid the whole thing. Remember, he said over a year ago that he would cooperate in any investigation of Jeffrey Epstein or anybody related. Well, he didn't do that. He hasn't cooperated in the Ghislaine Maxwell case that's going to a criminal trial in New York in a few months. He's certainly not cooperating in his own case. So it does not look good for him. And this is certainly a crisis for the royals. And they're just going to have to go through it. There's really no alternative because she's not giving up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Lisa, thank you so much for your insight. It's been really
my pleasure.
interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that policeman accepting and going, I will pass them on.
That sounds like it's
That could be the centre of
the clincher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just fascinating.